Hello, successionaires, and welcome to the national TV and conference call talk show, The Road to Success. I'm your host, Professor William Murray. And as always, the God in me greets and blesses the God in you. The show The Road to Success is a show, it's for you and to get you all your questions answered and to give you a chance to give your opinion on any topic. This evening, I got the privilege of having a guest who I'll bring on in a moment. And I've been knowing this brother for a while, so we'll get into that. This show is about you. It's for you. Everything is you. I wouldn't be here were it not for you. And and with your blessing, I'll continue to have this show, The Road to Success. I've got a new piece of equipment, y'all. I'm trying to figure out how to work it. So if it don't turn out right, I'm learning. First time I've used this, so I got to remember what they said for me to do. And I'm not doing it right. Hey, I got this. If you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh.
That's right.
And I'm definitely laughing at myself. Oh, see there? I worked that out all by myself. I'm so proud of myself. I don't know what to do. Yep, I am proud of me. Oh, that still ain't right, but this is what I have to do. This gentleman I'm going to bring on to this, we're going to have a nice discussion. You're going to learn a lot. Like I always tell you, always have pen and paper or a pad, because there are going to be notes to be taken. And I always tell you, if you learn something, to teach us. If you know something, tell us. It's all about one helping another. Because the show is for you and depends on you. And you have to stay tuned in to us to see a difference in your life, your business, and your mindset. I'm going to need you to share, and share out this presentation, this show tonight, and also subscribe. For those of you on YouTube, subscribe. Subscribe. Do what makes you great, and the world a better place. There's a question I'm going to me and this brother will talk about later that's really going to give you a question for you to answer within yourself. It's all about you and thought. I had a conversation with a young lady last night, and I had to tell her, she's going through something right now, and it's very, very disturbing and upsetting to her. And I had to get her to understand, darling, you guys quit thinking that the greater loss is yours, because what happened is not the greater loss, because you were working for a company that now they got to find 2 or 3 people to take your place. Who's the greater loss to? It's to them, because now they got to train somebody, 3 people to take one person's place, which absolutely makes no sense. I said, don't you be sad, because God closed that door, but He opened up a window. So stay on that. Stay on that. And it's always a blessing. Always a blessing. When you can just look back and learn from the lesson. It's a lesson to you. Don't doubt God's will, because when He shuts the door, you can bet He's going to open up a window. Because that which does not kill you only makes you stronger. It gives you a lesson, because people in your life at three times in your life, either for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. Which one is it for you at this moment? Everything is there. Every day is a lesson in your life. Learn that lesson. It's always a blessing. It may seem cruel, it may seem hard, but you'll look back at it one day and you say, well, I'll be jumped up. I had to go through what I went through in order to get to where I am. That's the lesson. That's the thought process, and you growing. I'm going to bring on this brother who I'm so glad that I met. Oh, I don't know how many years ago, because time flies when you get a certain age. Time flies, and for me right now, time is flying. It's almost the end of the second month of the year, and it seemed like it was just New Year's last week. It just seems that way to some of us. Let me tell you about this brother I'm gonna bring on. Let me tell you about this brother. Brother Bedford, originally from Detroit, now residing in Georgia, is the creator and founder of Conversations with Black Millionaires and Masters of Business Network and Mastermind Community, as well as a trusted coach, consultant, advisor to clients whose revenues span from 1 million to tens of millions of dollars. Brother Bedford, entrepreneurial consultant, life work has been and continues to be dedicated to helping ambitious, growth-minded entrepreneurs become highly valued, highly respected, and highly paid. Brother Bedford's strong belief in and commitment to the power of Black entrepreneur is evident in all the areas of the Masters of Business, his network and mastermind community, and its successful program, which works to help entrepreneurs reach their full potential in both their business and personal lives. That sounds like somebody I know. Very personal. Brother Bedford has opened for or shared the stage with many entertainers, sports stars, celebrities, and legendary entrepreneurs and thought leaders like Dr. George Fraser, Les Brown, Dennis Kimbrough, Linda Clemens, Lisa Nichols, Julianne Malvo, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I happen to have been on several programs with this brother. So I'm proud of the fact that I'm right in that category with him.
That's right.
Brother Bedford is the author of several books and special reports, and he publishes a digital newsletter every Sunday called the MOB Report. Brother Bedford, welcome to the show, The Road to Success, my brother.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, Professor Murray, for having me. And thank you for the warm invitation and the warm introduction. You've been blazing this trail for myself and others for many, many years. So I always want to make sure that I salute you whenever I'm in your presence for doing the work that you do to help our people. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, my brother. I told everybody this month I was going to bring on some heavy hitters. Well, you're the third one of the month, and I'm proving to them I was right. And it is a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, brother, when I'm around you, because there's always something to be learned. You're one of those type that all you got to do is listen to learn. And later, if you want to, you can listen to reply. But right now, whatever we talk about, I want you to listen to learn. Tell us a little more about you and everything that you do, Brother Bedford.
Yeah, well, thank you again so much, Professor Murray. It's something that you just said that just sparked a thought that I think would be helpful to the audience about listening. As we're on the road to success, uh, it's very difficult to get there without being a student. And
No
I think
doubt.
what you just implied in terms of listening and learning in our community, we kind of, you know, because of slavery and all of the other things that we've gone through, we've had to feign humility. We've had to, bow our heads when we didn't need to, or scratch when we didn't itch, and all of those different things. And that has given us this energy and spirit that we can't listen and we can't be good students. And then we're in this vicious cycle of not being able to achieve the success. And I'm speaking of micro individually for some of us, but then also the macro, us as a people. And it's because of that spirit, right? Of not being able to be good students and knowing when to teach and when to listen, right? That's a skill
It
that
is.
you have mastered and you've been teaching others to master. The first thing you say when we come on, hey, make sure you pull out your pen and your pad so that you could, now it's time to be a student. But then
Yes,
after you do that, now go out and teach somebody when it's time for you to teach. But that's really a skill, Professor Murray, that I think so many of us need to really acquire, because that's what we need in order to be successful, or as successful as we desire to be. And that's what my life is about. You said, give a brief introduction of what it is that I do. That's what my life has been about, being a student and learning uh, all I could about life and business. And I got on this journey by following your model and Dr. Kimbrough's model and Dr. Frazier's model, by interviewing successful millionaires. There were people who were asking me. I was started in my young career as in the entertainment space, and that's where you get some of those in the bio when you mentioned sharing the stage of some of the entertainers, being able to open up for Smokey Robinson, Jodeci before they was Jodeci, all of these different types. So that was the earlier phase of my career. We got into concert promotions, and I started promoting concerts and promoting Cedric the Entertainer and a few others in that arena. But then I slowly started shifting into real estate and just business and investing. And people told me, if you were serious about that, you want to start reading books like Success Runs in Our Race and Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. And of course, the prior book that I just mentioned was by Dr. Frazier. But in that interim and me studying and learning how to do this, somewhere in the early 2000s, I started following one of the gurus and got online, and they started teaching me about this internet stuff. And I started an e-zine at that time, howtobeablackentrepreneur.com, and people started signing up. And then one of those gurus mentioned about interviewing people and creating products and services. I was reading a book at that time called Conversations with Millionaires. And nobody, uh, there was one Black person in that book. There was, I believe, Robert Kiyosaki, Zig Ziglar, all of those different individuals. There was one Black person in that book, which was Wallace Famous Amos from Famous Amos Cookies.
I know him
Uh,
personally.
yeah, that's my man. And so he was the only one at that time in that book. And I was online and people were asking me, well, Brother Bedford, how are you making money flipping these houses and things like that? And I started selling these small reports for like $7 and $10. But then that idea hit me when I was reading that book. I said, wouldn't it be nice if someone interviewed our millionaires and put it in an ebook and sell that online? And that's when I said, well, if they're asking me, let me go ahead and see if I can get others. And I reached out to Dr. Frazier. It was my very first interview. His assistant at that time, when I called down to Cleveland, Ohio, this is when I was residing in Detroit, and said, I got this idea to interview Black millionaires, and I'd love to interview Dr. Frazier for my ebook. And she shot me down. She was like, oh, I don't think he'd be interested in that, because I wasn't CNN. I wasn't Wall Street Journal. This was new. Internet was fresh. She's like, this little knucklehead from Detroit calling. And then she really shot me down. And then she had said, well, why don't you try back in 6 months? And I left my number and said, well, if Mr. Frazier is interested, he can give me a call. She said, why don't you try back in 6 months? So I was deflated. But here's what happened, Professor Murray. It changed everything for me. Is that 5 minutes later, my phone rang, and there was airport noise in the back, and it was Dr. Frazier, and he said, "Young man, this is Dr. Frazier, and I hear you want to interview me." And of course, when he said that, my heart was jumping out my chest, right? So I was nervous, and I said, "Well, we can't do it like this, Mr. Frazier. I need you to call this number," and I call into this bridge line, and then we do the interview. And that interview, he said, "Well, I'll be back in my office in around 15 minutes." And that gave me enough time to write about 5 questions.
And for your
And
heart
when,
to slow down.
yeah, we get my heart slowed down. I can get composed a little bit, right? And I wrote down about 5 questions. He called in, and here's something for you, for your listening audience, because I try to plant seeds every time I talk, because this stuff is not rocket science. It was a free conference call line, freeconferencecall.com, right? He called in. I called in, we did the interview, and what I thought was going to be a 20-30 minute interview turned into like an hour and
Oh,
35
you talk.
minutes.
You didn't know George that well, there.
I
You know
know, no,
George.
and he can talk. And just like I know, he can talk. So he gave me all of that content. That went well. Then I kept going. I started calling Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, then Les Brown, then Kathy Hughes. And so we accumulated those interviews. I had them transcribed at a service that was just getting started back then called Fiverr.com, for anybody who's
Yep.
listening. So I interviewed successful millionaires. You don't have to interview millionaires. You can just interview successful people in your niche or your category. And there's a lot of things that can happen. One, you're getting fabulous content. Two, you're learning while you're creating something. And I had those transcribed, sent those MP3s over to Fiverr.com. And the first 9 interviews became an ebook that was called Conversations with Black Millionaires. We did a press release, a little press run. Headline was Budding Entrepreneur Seeks Millionaire Advice and Gets It. And from that, we got a bunch of downloads from the press release itself. But here's the interesting thing that happened, Dr. Murray. I started getting calls from radio station producers, and they wanted to know, you interviewed these millionaires. What did they tell you? You want to come on and talk to Warren Ballantine? I was on the Warren Ballantine show. This is when XM radio was, all of the Black thought leaders that we, Tavis Smiley, all of these different people, when they were doing their XM satellite programs, I was getting on their programs, and they would ask me these questions. What did Dr. Frazier teach, or what did Les Brown say to you? And then we would do all that. And then at the end of it, well, how can they get this ebook? And I would say, all you got to do is go to conversationswithblackmillionaires.com and get it. And literally, thousands and thousands of people were downloading that ebook. And that was the start of me teaching, sharing, consulting, because I was taking what I had learned, sharing it with other entrepreneurs to help them grow their business. And so we've been consulting and advising ever since then. And I've created a bunch of different products. And then today, what I do is primarily consult and run my mastermind groups, the MOB, which is what you were talking about, the Masters of Business Network and Mastermind Group, and help us continue to do what we do. And that's the short story. That's the short version.
Yeah, because I know you didn't give the long version of George Frazier, because it took a while for you got in, like, but what did it all for you was persistence.
Yeah.
They saw that you were serious.
Yeah.
And you persistent, because he was supposed to be a guest on my show a week and a half ago, but something came up and he couldn't make it.
Right.
So I said, that don't mean he ain't telling me no. He just said no, not now.
Right. Right.
So you can't let no stop you, because I'm gonna have him on. There's no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody that you mentioned so far, man, I know well. I used to sit with Kathy Hughes every day when she was on 4th and 8th Street with WL Radio, that one little station.
Mm-hmm.
I was there almost every day.
Right.
And I'd be sitting there when she go to break, we would kick it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I couldn't say nothing. I was just watching her and listening, and then she didn't know I was just learning.
That's right.
And then I got to know the godfather of talk, who was one of the best uh, 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 hosts for talk was Bernie McCain.
Mm.
That was my man.
Right.
Bernie had been around so long, he knew everybody. He'd been everywhere, and he taught me a lot because I was sitting there with him.
Mm-hmm.
I sit with Joe Madison. I sit and
Ah.
watch him and listen to
Yes.
him work. And
Yes.
me and Joe protested and got arrested together a couple of times out protesting.
Right.
So, you know, I knew him, Dick Gregory, my very best friend, for 37 years before he passed.
Yeah.
So we were in the same circle, man, but we
Yeah.
just went about different ways, but it
Absolutely.
still got us to where we are right now.
Absolutely. And something that you said that I think everybody should pick up on, um, it's relationship, right? We
Yes.
worked hard to first start the relationships, but then, as you mentioned, stay diligent, learn to create and add value to their lives so that it's not, you're not like a leech, right? You're not trying to get in saying, what can I get? What can I get? You come into the relationships saying, what can I give and what can I share? And in my case, what I was doing was I was providing a platform for those individuals to sell their books, to sell their conferences, to get their messaging out. I didn't know this at the time, right? I'm thinking I'm doing something for myself, but as I reflected on it, why they gave me those interviews or why they entered into these relationships with me is because I was providing an audience. I had become like media to help expose them. And to this date, I can't begin to tell you how many people I've introduced to Dr. Frazier and the Power Networking Conference who are in my list, who thank me almost on a weekly basis. I get an email saying, I'd never heard of Dr. Frazier or someone else before, Michael Roberts, but they heard of them through my programs. And
Hold
so
on 1 second. Let me mute somebody. Let me mute everybody out.
we're getting some feedback.
Oh, come on. It's not gonna let me. It's not gonna let me. Hold on 1 second, Brother Bedford.
Sure.
This thing is not gonna let me mute them out. Put your phones on mute, everyone. Please mute your phone. Please, everyone, mute your phone.
Yeah, you may want to ask them to, that was a good idea to self-mute.
Everyone, please mute your phone. Mute your own phone, please. Mute your phone. All right, bro. I got a button here to do it, but I was wearing it out and it's not muting them out. So
Yeah.
go ahead, my brother. I'm sorry.
No, you're perfectly fine. And this is again, these are the illustrations of what it takes, right? To on the road to success, you're gonna have technical difficulties, right? You're gonna have all types of stuff, and you keep going, and not worry about anything happening. We were just talking about relationships, and I just wanted to reiterate the fact that you mentioned these circles and the diligence that you had and I had and the persistence to cultivate these relationships. And just to be very to come back to that point on Dr. Frazier, because I think I always talk about our relationship because I think it really illustrates the point that what started out as me inquiring about an interview, which he granted me, has now turned into a very, very powerful relationship, mentor, dear friend relationship. And ever since then, in helping to provide value, he invited me to speak at the Power Networking Conference, and I've been speaking at the Power Networking Conference in some capacity for, I don't know, the past 15 years because of that relationship. And from that relationship has spawned many other relationships. So again, I wanted to highlight that because I know some of our listeners, you're thinking that it takes a gazillion people. You think that it takes, you having to go all over the world or whatever the case may be. You got to get lucky. No, it one relationship, One solid
One.
relationship
That's
is like
right.
the domino. One domino falling can begin to open up so many doors. Now, I have many relationships now, but that one relationship with Dr. Frazier has opened up so many doors. So many friendships have developed from me knowing him and personal introductions from him that I can't even begin to tell you. So his $1 million network eventually became my $1 million network. And that's kind of how I'm hoping that this message gets across, because I know we're in uncertain times, a lot of volatility, a lot of different things going on. But if you can focus on the right relationships, you can navigate through whatever comes your way.
There's no, and and like I said, you can't give up, because it's when you get ready to give up, that next step was going to be your success.
Yeah.
You can never give up. I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
at me at my age. He said, Mr. Murray, you'd have made it. You out there, I've been out here for 47 years. But I'm saying, but what you're saying now is my 47-year overnight success.
That's right. That's how long it takes. That's about how long it takes. That's right.
Yeah. And I'm not through yet.
That's right.
I can't move as fast as I used to,
That's right.
but I can move a lot smarter
That's right.
than I used to.
You can leverage everything now. And here's the thing: we don't. You're dropping some seeds here that I hope the people are picking up. Um, there's no retirement, right, for
No.
us. Right? What there's no. So if you think like this, man, you really hit something here. This is a lesson that I think if the right person hears this, it'll change everything. Is that when you think about doing the things that you discussed in a year, 2 years, 3 years, and it's not moving or happening at the pace you want it to, you're not getting the money that you want, you're not cultivating or developing the relationships that you want, you're right. That's when people bail out. And here's the thing: it's not that it's not working, it's working on you, it's developing you, it's shaping you, it's giving
Yes.
you the experience and the knowledge, so when the right time happens, you'll be able to take full advantage of it. But that requires a mindset, as you just mentioned, to say that I'm not going to stop, I'm going to continue to push through this, and no matter what, if I'm smart enough and make the right adjustments at the right time, eventually, and I'm not, when we say eventually, we're not talking about, hocus pocus or abracadabra, anything mysterious. I'm talking about continuing to work, to learn, to develop these relationships, and you'll figure out some things that at the right moment, things can really take off for you. And so just when you think it's not working, you're right. That's when the breakthrough happens. Just when you say,
And that's
I'm
why I say
back in.
most people, because I learned from a lot from Joe Madison. I've been around Joe
Yeah,
Madison so daggone much. Him and
eagle.
Dick Gregory. That's unbelievable. That and he asked a very powerful question. He always asks, "What are you going to do about it?" Well, I asked myself
Mm,
that, and had to answer the question of what am I going to do about this situation and that situation.
right,
I had so many people tell me that I couldn't do what I'm doing now because I stutter and I stammer, and I'm country.
right.
They think country people are
Is
dumb.
that what that is?
I walked behind the plow many times, brother, many
Right.
days. But it's you can do it in your way.
That's right.
I look at what's the guy's name that got all these jobs and got TV shows and books and all that stuff out there. Listen to him talk.
You talking about Steve Harvey?
Steve Harvey. Listen to Cedric talk.
Right.
Their vocabulary and isn't 100% correct, but you understand
Sure.
everything they say.
Sure.
And
Sure.
Joe taught me about the third eye and the third ear because I'm so spiritual. Because my whole life is about spirituality. That's what
Hmm.
I teach from. That's how
Hmm.
I teach. I
Hmm.
learned that from Wayne Dyer. Because when I was wanting to speak, my coach kept saying, "Well, Mr. Murray, you got one heck of a sense of humor. Why don't you be humorous when you're on stage?"
Hmm.
Because I'm too serious.
Hmm. Hmm.
But now I've learned how to relax and I got a little humor, but I'm spiritual.
Right.
And I'm like Joseph, I teach from third eye and third ear. Listen to what I'm saying, but understand more of the meaning.
Right.
And
Right.
that's when you grow yourself and your mind, and you go deeper into yourself and deeper into the knowledge of what you're listening to and what you're learning.
That's right. That's right. You bring up another valid, I would say, one of the things that I've been focusing on lately, I would say over the past 3 years, actually it's been a little longer than that. Well, let's just say at the end of 99 when I start 2019, see, I said 99, that would have been a long time ago. 2019 was when we relaunched the Masters of Business. And one of the cornerstones of that, even now, before anybody can work with me, I have them going through an assessment to discover their uniqueness. And I think, as you just illustrated so beautifully, I think one of the biggest obstacles that we have, we're stuck in comparing and competing. And we have to realize that God has created all of us with our own unique talents, our own unique
Yes,
strengths, our own unique gifts. But we're so busy comparing that we don't realize that, as you just said, that country drawl or whatever we thinking is a deficiency is actually a strength of ours that
yes,
resonates with people who are supposed to hear from us. And so I think what you just said right there, if nobody gets anything else from what you just primarily shared, and I'm just reverbing what you said, is that if you can focus on your unique talent, skills, and gifts, and most of us, it's hard to know what those skills are if we have never been, directed to do that. However, if you just reflect on what you are naturally good at. And that's normally the challenge. You're so naturally good at something, you're so naturally gifted at something that you take it for granted. But yet, that's your uniqueness for you to learn how to package that and put it into the marketplace. But you think, if I know it, if I can do this, everybody, surely everybody can do this. And nothing could be further from the truth. Even if they can do what you're doing, there's still the slight difference, the nuance, your uniqueness that makes it different for your unique audience and your unique tribe. And that's, if there's nothing else you get from this, and we've entered into that time where, I once heard that time dictates the agenda. And we've entered into a time where your entrepreneurial mindset and you taking your uniqueness, because we're all standing on our own mountains of value, right? All, just as you mentioned earlier, all of your experience, all of your education, all of your training, all of the sit downs with the Kathy Hughes and Joe Madison and all of these different people, that's the value that you have, that when it's time for you to share that or package that, nobody can see, nobody can compete with that, right? Nobody knows what you and Kathy Hughes talked about in the
right.
studio, right? But you can take that conversation and now package it to present it and add value to the lives of really everyone that's listening to us right now. I mean, that's exactly what you and I are doing. We're talking about my experiences with Dr. Frazier and others and the conference and what I've done. Every single one of us who are listening to us and watching us, you're standing on your own mountain of value. Your job from this point forward is, how do you mine? I know you look down and you say, "Oh, I don't see nothing but dirt, Brother Bedford," right? And that's, think about it. Whenever we're doing any type of mountain climbing or hill climb, whatever it is, when we're standing on the mountain or the hill, the only thing we really focus on is all of the other hills and mountains that we see. So you see Professor Murray's mountain of value, you see Brother Bedford's mountain of value, you see Sister such and such's mountain of value. You know, well, I don't have any value, because when you look down, all you see is the dirt that you're standing on. But I'm telling you, beneath that dirt is so many jewels and nuggets, your unique experiences, your unique relationships, the thing that you used to do when you were 7 years old that everybody said was quirky, and you said, "Man, I'm never going to do that again." You have to do that again, because that's yours. And when you
That's
package
right.
that right, and now you got the internet, so what was quirky to you at 7 years old, that there were only a few people in your immediate sphere who could understand that. You know, mama's always one of them, right? Mama tell you don't worry about nobody. Now you have the internet. There are literally hundreds or thousands of other quirky people just like you that now you can congregate with them and you don't have to worry about. One of the things that happened when I did the conversations and I was doing the speaking tour, and of course, you know, Detroit was in the headlines, probably kind of, you know, not too it wasn't favorable headlines in Detroit at that time. A lot of stuff was going on. And so when I would speak and say I was from Detroit and we would talk about selling the ebooks, people would ask me, so, well, Brother Bedford, you know, is anybody buying ebooks in Detroit? And I don't know why I responded so quickly, but it just popped in my head. So I said, I don't care if they ever buy ebooks in Detroit because I'm selling ebooks all over
Over the
the
world.
world now. I mean, I'm getting letters from people in China, South Africa, Barbados, and the different Caribbean islands. And so I say all that to say that whatever your mountain of value is, that did not pique the interest of your immediate circle in your location where you were growing up, or your family, or your close friends, and that immediate circle, you have the capacity now, though, that mountain is valuable to people all over the world if you learn how to do the things that we're doing today. I mean, there got to be people on here from at least, I don't know, from all over the world or country.
All over the country right now. But you know something, Brother Bedford? Les Brown has a habit of saying something that, you know, like I told you, I go with the third eye and third ear. So I go deeper than what is really said. Les Brown always says, it's not over until I win.
That's right.
And then I always tell people, yes, but death is your finish line.
That's right.
So that means you go until then.
That's
because
right.
death is your finish line. So it's not over until I win.
That's right.
But
I'm gonna what
win.
else you gonna do? What else? What else you gonna do? You're right. You can't work for nobody. You are unemployable.
I am. No. You know, I say I'm a terrible employee, but I'm a
Right.
damn nice boss.
That's right. That's right. You're terrible. Once you get this that we're talking about, and that awakening, and you start having just small semblances of success, it kind of, you know, I don't want to say it spoils you, but you start saying, well, you know, what else am I going to do? Right. So so now that you've made yourself probably unemployable, right? So you
Yes.
can't see, you know, hey, man, am I going to go back and work for somebody for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? You're not going to do that, right? And then they don't want you because you make it because now you're thinking with your own mind. You like you said, you make a fantastic boss now, right?
I had one of the best paying jobs in the city.
Right.
And one day I said, wait a minute. I'm out in the street hustling, selling T-shirts out my trunk of my car, selling clothes out the trunk of my car,
Right.
making money.
More
I
than the
got a good job, but then I thought, wait a minute, hold it. Can't nobody pay me what I can pay me?
That's right. That's right.
And you know, I went to work one day, and this is a joke that I tell when I'm on stage. My boss one day told me, said, Mr. Murray, he said, I'm gonna have to fire you. And I'm thinking, well, I'm the best employee you got. Why you gonna fire me? He says, because you got more power around here than I do.
Wow. Yeah.
And a little bit later, I don't know how much longer after that, I went in one day. I says, I got an eye problem. He said, well, the doctor's right up the street. We got good insurance. Go to the eye doctor and get back to work. I said, no, sir, that's not what I mean. He said, what do you mean your eye problem? I said, I decided I no longer want to work here. I want to be an entrepreneur. I quit.
That's right. A bunch of eyes in there.
That's my eye problem, baby. We're going to open up the lines, Brother Bedford. Let's see if anybody out there want to talk to us.
Sure.
Lines are open. Who out there want to talk to Brother Bedford and Professor Murray? Lines are open. Somebody talk to us. Lines are open. Somebody talk to us.
Uh-oh, we must have covered everything. I know we didn't cover everything.
Well, you know something that Joe Madison taught me? He said for every 100 people that tune into your show, maybe 3 will open up the lines and talk to you.
Yeah, that's true.
People are afraid. And
That's
I
true.
keep telling y'all, closed mouth or closed mind will never get fed.
Yeah.
Lines are open. Somebody talk to us.
And one of the things that I always say is that you you want to take advantage of these type of opportunities. There's no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is a question not asked.
Yeah. Lines are open. Somebody talk to me.
Hey, Brother Mary.
Yes, sir. And Brother Bedford.
Hey, great chiming in this evening. Hey, Brother Bedford.
Yes.
I'm Andrew. Man, it's been great listening to you. Brother Mary is not only a fan of mine, but he's a friend.
That's right.
And he talks about the third eye and third ear. And the most important thing about I've learned from him is that we've always been told that we only had 5 senses.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And of course, the third eye, third ear goes beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to so many good pointers that you shared. One question that came to mind: what was your biggest challenge in your transitioning to where you're at now?
Yeah, great question, Andrew, and thank you again for the question. The biggest challenge, which I think is probably the biggest challenge for most, is myself. Right, getting out of my own way.
Yeah.
Thinking that talking to millionaires, why would they want to talk to me? Right? What reason would think about Dr. Dennis Kimbrough? What reason would he have to sit down and talk to me? But this was my own self-sabotage. And so those things in terms of self-doubt, that's why they all start with the self, right? Self-doubt, self-sabotage, low self-esteem. Those are the biggest challenges. But here's the thing, Andrew, that I think is critically important. We've said it, and we did kind of rush through because we're trying to be respectful of the time. But once you realize, and I use that term very deliberate, the value that you bring to the table. We all have some value. So the biggest challenge is, how do I learn how to add value? So for me, it was me getting out of my way. And here's the thing, at that time, I didn't know that I was adding value. But now that I reflect, I was able to create and add value to all of their lives. And now they're friends, and I continue to find ways to add value. And so once you hit that, Andrew, you tend to hit a different gear. If anybody knows anything about, as you mentioned, you start getting up into that realm where you're out of survival mode, you're out of fear mode, and you start getting into your creative space. Once you hit that gear, then it's on and popping. So just as Professor Murray said, at that point, the challenges that you have are just a tech issue. But what we're gonna do, we ain't gonna hang up because there's a tech issue. We're just gonna keep it going, right? So those probably become very minuscule. So the biggest problem was me getting out of my own way and my own limiting beliefs about what I could do. And just the last caveat to that, and I gotta say this, because those interviews turned into phenomenal relationships, man, that I tell people all the time. I used to look into my phone, and phone would ring, and Big Wayne would be calling, or Ice would be calling, right? These are brothers that I grew up with. But now, in any given moment, to phone ring, and it is a Les Brown, right? Or it is a Dr. Michael V. Roberts, at one time our third Black billionaire. And it's because those relationships, I learned how to add value to them, and now they call because of the value that I can provide and share. And sometimes it's simply a relationship. Hey, I just got off Mr. Murray's show, Professor Murray. I think you might want to get on there, George, since we got the PNC coming up, right? So that's valuable.
That's right.
See, and sometimes we're thinking, what is this humongous thing that I got to do? No, you just got to find the value. And when I say value, knowing what they need and what they want to further their causes, further what it is that they're doing, selling their products, their services, their books, whatever
and
it is.
And it's a plus for you.
It's a huge plus for you. But again, you got to be able to get out of your own way to do that.
I can't get people to understand when I tell them, who are you telling about the show?
Right.
Who are you giving a blessing to? Because life always pays its debt.
Yeah.
And when you give a blessing, that's a blessing that's coming back to you.
Yeah. And it's value. Here's the thing, Professor, again. He said something. What did he say?
Yes, go ahead.
One other quick thing, brother. One other quick thing before I
sure
leave. I know you mentioned relationships very early in the conversation.
Yeah.
Something that I picked up on.
Yeah.
What do you think, or who do you think is the greatest relationship that you have established in developing or learning your skills, or is it just more than, or is it just a collective of individuals together, or there was one individual that stood out more than others?
No, it's a great question.
Thank you, Brother Drew. We go let him answer that. Then we got other people on the line.
Yeah, that's kind of a loaded question because it's that question is layered. So clearly there was some pivotal people, right? Dr. Frazier was one, still is one, right? I'll give you an example. I'm interviewing Dr. Anthony Browder next week.
Oh, my buddy, that's my man.
Tony Browder, right? So, but I didn't have his number, right? So
call me, I got it.
Yeah, but see, now I know that, but I didn't know that at the time. Well, let me use another one. No, that's a good one. But let me use another one. I interviewed Julianne Malveaux, and I just sent George an email saying, I'd like to interview Dr. Malveaux about the state of the Black economy. Do you have a way that I can get in contact with her? And he just sent me a number. He texted me a number. Now I'm thinking this is an assistant or something like that that's going to answer the phone. I called the number, and to my surprise, Dr. Malveaux, how can I help you? And again, I'm stunned. I'm stunned that she's answering the phone. But then, like I said, well, George gave me your number and I wanted to interview. And she just said, so when do you want to do it? So that introduction. So George has been a pivotal person in terms of broadening my relationships and cultivating, again, our friendship, that if I want to interview someone or meet someone, either at the conference or anywhere, this man's Rolodex is super thick. Now, I don't abuse that, but I have access to powerful people, and it's because of our relationship. So that's the first answer. His first one, he said, who stood out? So clearly, Dr. Frazier stands out. The same is true with Dr. Michael V. Roberts. He provides me a lot of access as well. But here's the key when he mentioned the relationships. This is really,
we got about 5 minutes up, Brother Bedford.
Okay, so I'm gonna make this one because I know we want to get another call in. So Andrew, this is really powerful right here. The best relationship was when I realized that was the key to begin to cultivate and develop relationships. So I don't know how to explain that, saying this, just the knowledge of knowing that whatever business you're in, I'm really going to quote Dr. Frazier, whatever business you say that you're in, that's not the business you're in. The business that you're really in is in the business of building relationships. So whatever category, industry, niche that you're in, your job from this point forward is to become the person who is the key person who knows people that can help you with any facet of your business. If you're still focused on what can I do, you're going to be missing the boat. Now you should be thinking about, who do I know? The who's are more important than the how right now. So that thought of me understanding that, Andrew, became super powerful, because now I believe I can develop and cultivate relationships with just about anybody on the planet. So that's skill.
All you do is get
Thank
better.
you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Lines are open. Lines are open. Somebody talk to us. Lines are open.
Professor Murray?
Yes, dear.
Professor Murray and Brother Bedford.
Yes.
It's a pleasure just sitting here listening to you, Black young men, just talk about life investment. I don't have any questions, but just to listen as you explain entrepreneurship. And it comes about life investment, which is, as you said, comparing, understanding your skills. It's not just about money, but all of that brings you into the arena of making the money and being an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And sometimes just listening, you can get a whole lot from just listening to individuals talk, share their experiences,
Yep.
share how they went from point A to point B. But it's all life investment. Thank you so much, Professor Mary and Brother Bedford, for sharing this.
Well, thank you, dear. I appreciate
you. Truly enjoying it.
Thank you.
What's
and
her
blessings
name?
to you.
What's her name?
Who was speaking?
This is Priscilla Lee.
Priscilla.
Yes, Miss Lee.
Priscilla, I want to thank you for the comment, because you really shared some light. And I hope, again, another lesson that I hope everyone gets. Entrepreneur is just a French word. It's for the lack of a better term, that's the term that we use because of their positioning in the slave trade, and then of course what the French did in terms of capitalism. So that's a word that entered into the English lexicon in the 1700s. And so because there isn't another word that people know how to express it, we just say entrepreneur. But you just gave the perfect definition, Priscilla. And that's why I wanted to kind of highlight it, because if we can just get out of the way of the language and understand when we're talking about entrepreneurship and business, all we're talking about is the science of life. How do you take your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, and as you just mentioned, Priscilla, and put it into the marketplace, right? So that's why we call it entrepreneurship, but it's really just doing something for yourself. You was born creative. You were born a producer, but the education system in the States have really dumbed that down out of many of us. But Priscilla, I thank you for your comments, because you're so right that if everyone can just remove this entrepreneur thing seems difficult and tough, and just start having conversations like you said, and looking at what we're gifted at, as the Bible teaches, your gift will make room for you. It will not only make room for you, it will compensate you. But if you're stuck on the term entrepreneurship and building a business the way that you see it done on television, you'll be missing something vital. So thank you for that, Priscilla. I really appreciate your comment.
Thank you,
sir. I'm enjoying it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes. Brother Bedford, I always tell everyone is an entrepreneur, because your life is a business.
That's right.
And when you organize it as such and grow it as such, you will be successful at most of your goals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, it's the hardest thing for us, like you said, get out your own way.
Yeah. Get
out your own way. Now you got to tell people how people can reach you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Professor Murray. I got to come back now, because I'm excited. We just getting started, so we got to do a part 2 at another time. So I
mean, see, I got as much time on my shows. I won't always advertise 9 to 10, but I've stayed over longer, so I can hang up we can go when you're ready to go.
No, I know we want to be
respectful. I know you got something to do.
Yeah, we kind of got.
I know,
but I definitely want to come back, because I love what you do, and I love your audience. And I love sharing this. I mean, you're right. We can do this all day and never get tired.
Never get tired.
It's so rich. Once you tap into this vein, the oil just flows, right? It just keeps coming. And so I would love to come back and talk. I would say the best way to get in contact with me and to really hear these types of things, I have a Sunday morning newsletter, as you mentioned, called The Mob Report. I have a free report that people can get now. Just go to brotherbedford.com. Just enter your email. I'll send you my 26-page report on how to be a Black entrepreneur in the new world order. A report I put together. It's 26 pages. And I'll send you my newsletter every Sunday morning. I won't be bombarding your inbox or anything like that. I have a collection of millionaires and thought leaders that I share their knowledge, their articles. They write sometimes directly for me, and I send that out on Sunday morning. So have a cup of coffee with your brother on a Sunday morning, and let's talk about Black entrepreneurship. That's brotherbedford.com.
Any Sunday morning, I'm available.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Brother
I want you to do me a favor now.
Yes, sir.
I want you to pass me on, let people know about my show, and
Absolutely.
especially and just tell them, say, look, you want to go on this show, because I think I need to grow this, and
Absolutely.
I do ask for support and people to donate $25 at a minimum, to keep me on the air, because this comes out of my pocket. There ain't anybody paying for this but
Sure.
me.
Sure.
And I just ask for a donation. I tell them most of the time, just everybody got a Cash App. And that's at Cash App $W Murray. Don't get no easier than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Well, we're going to
you can
share
give.
this. We'll share this in this week's newsletter that's coming up. Let them know that we were on. The replay will be up, and of course, then we're going to ask everybody to support. And then, of course, if you let me know what type of people you're trying to get on, we have. Of course, we have the millionaires, but of course, we have a whole bunch of people who are in the entrepreneurial space who have so
Yes.
much value that they can share to your audience.
See, like me, I'm not a millionaire, but I got that millionaire mind, baby.
That's right.
So that means I can teach you.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Life.
That's all that matters.
Because like I say, how much money I got ain't nobody's business but me and the lint in my pocket.
That's right. And you'll find, and I thank you again, I love Priscilla's spirit. And you'll find, because I just heard her voice again, that that's one of the biggest hurdles. We're not getting started because we're trying to do something so big. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. That's the language today. But I just read an article not too long ago, Professor Murray, and I know we got to get ready to close out on this. I just read an article about a couple of weeks ago, and the article was explaining the happiness level, the income level for people who are extremely happy. And that income level was $80,000 a year for a single person, $160,000 a year for two, and then $320,000 for a family of five. At that level, so let's just go with the one person. If you're a single person, if you were making $80,000 a year, which means that you could probably live pretty much anywhere that you wanted to within reason right now. Of course, your taste, if you want something more, then you're going to have to work harder and begin to generate more income. But the point of the article is that when people started trying to make more money, their happiness levels, their peace and their joy went down, right? Because now they invited so many other stressors into their life. And that's what you have now, is everybody stressing out because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. But there is a level, as Priscilla just said, that when you're comfortable, when you know that you can make money on demand, when you know that you have relationships that you can just either press send or make a call and get done what you need done, then you don't have to put a dollar amount on that, right? You don't have to say that I'm making seven figures or this figure. If you're doing that, as we just said, the relationships, I think it was in Scarface. He said, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the respect. No, we want to flip that. It's the relationships, the respect, and you'll have power, and money follows power.
Yes.
Trust me when I tell you that.
And I tell people, you not learn something. You never, ever, 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 ever chase money.
That's right.
When you do right and you do what needs to be done, money will chase you.
Absolutely. 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 I learned that from Dr. Frazier. He said, never chase money. The other words that he said, never chase money, chase excellence.
There you go.
Because money has a way of finding excellence. And so I would say to the audience as we close out that that's our goal. On that mountain of value, find your excellence. Find your thing, and you'll find that the better you get at that, the more mastery you develop in that, the better your relationships, the better you can connect with people. You'll find that you won't have any challenges with getting money. Now, that again, when you start entering other things into the equation, that you want the Maybach and all of that type of stuff, that's when the challenges happen.
Yeah.
But when you are completely satisfied with you becoming excellent, you'll know when it's time for you to go to the next level. It just automatically happens. You'll hit one certain income level, and then what'll happen is the responsibilities will come, and you'll know if you want to go to the next level, and then you just keep going. But don't try to jump to the top
yes.
prematurely.
Most definitely.
And all that could be summed up as to say, because I am a country young lady as well, fair exchange, no robbery. That is to sum it up. Fair exchange, no robbery.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you sleep better at night. That's right, Priscilla. Thank you.
Sure do. Brother Bedford, it has been a privilege and a pleasure, my brother.
No, my honor, man. Thank you so much. Anytime. Look forward to connecting with you real soon.
All right. Thank you, my brother.
All right. Take care, everyone.
All righty. And let me take a commercial real quick, because I didn't put none of my commercials on today. As y'all know, I do need support. If you can just send $25 to the show, The Road to Success, the blessing that you're giving, I can bring people on like Brother Bedford. I mean, you hear all the people that he talked about? I know all of them. I have their personal numbers. See, people don't realize how popular and how great I am. I mean, I'm not bragging, because I'm not bragging. I know I lived a good full life. I'll be 74 this year. And I've been out there around these people for years. Now, I've been knowing Brother Bedford for years, but we've shared the stage. We've been on the stage on the same programs. And I'm asking you to support the show, The Road to Success. And you can give as much as you want or as little as you want. But we ask for at least $25. And at Cash App, $W Murray. Or PayPal at paypal.me/MM Institute. PayPal.com/MM Institute. Or you can send it in the mail at P.O. Box 47438, District Heights, Maryland, 20753. That's P.O. Box 47438, District Heights, Maryland, 20753. I'm going to bring on more people like Brother Bedford. What's he named? I'm bringing on, I told you I'm getting ready to get deep, baby. I'm going to bring people on who can help you get what you want. You can call me here at the Institute at 240-619-2019. I am the president of the Millionaire Mastermind Institute. Call me here at 240-619-2019. And here's what I'm doing. I told you for the month of February. And you need coaching, you need help. What do I do? Or I got a personal problem, call me. Because I had 2 people last night I couldn't believe I had to talk to. And I'm going to talk to you next week about the conversation that we had. And it's all about none of business. It was all about life. It was all about life. So call me here. And here's the special I got running. My special now is whatever you can afford to pay. You need help, you need assistance. What can you afford to pay? And I'll help you, coach you, give you what you need, give you that roadmap to whether it's personal, spiritual, financial, or entrepreneurial. I can help you. I got 47 years of experience just doing what you see me doing. How wise am I if I can do this for 47 years? Take advantage of it. How much can you afford to pay? That's my fee for the month of February. This is Professor William Murray. And I'm going to tell you, like I always say in closing, if you push me, I'll pull you. If you pull me, I'll push you. It's not going to matter whether you're pushing or you're pulling. We will get there together. You know what I said? We get there together, because I'm pushing and you're pulling, or vice versa. And truth and fact is, the truth is I love you. And the fact is, ain't nothing you can do about it. Until next time, God bless. And keep working on your road to success. Until next time, remember every Tuesday and Friday at 9 p.m., I'm right here on the show, The Road to Success. Pass it on. Give a blessing. Hit share. Or if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the page. Give me that blessing of the power that you got with just that little click. Until next time, God bless. And keep working on your road to success. Good night. God bless.